And Mr. Marish, you wanted to make an announcement?
Well, yes, and I ask your indulgence to please bear with me for approximately 5 minutes. And the following statement represents my personal views, my views only, and it does not in any way represent the views of the city or the council. You may have heard of the recent death of a mentally ill transient in Fullerton. His name was Kelly Thomas, and though he was unarmed, he was beaten and tasered to death by up to 6 police officers. The case is currently under investigation by the Fullerton Police, the Orange County DA, and the FBI. As Kelly Thomas pleaded with the police to stop the beating, he cried out for his father, "Please, Dad, Dad, Dad." Those were his last words before he lapsed into a coma from which he would never emerge. Kelly Thomas's father is a former sheriff's deputy by the name of Ron Thomas. Ron Thomas will never be able to hug his son. He'll never be able to take him to a ball game, never be able to tell his son how much he loves him. For the rest of his life, Ron Thomas will have to live with Kelly's cries of "please, Dad, Dad, Dad," cries which he could not answer, help he could not give. Ron Thomas wasn't able to help his boy, and the only thing left for Ron Thomas now is to try to make sure there is justice for Kelly Thomas's death. Because of the lack of transparency on the part of the authorities, Ron Thomas and hundreds of others in Fullerton have been protesting not only Kelly Thomas's death, but also the way in which it has been dealt with. Each Saturday in Fullerton during the day, Ron Thomas and hundreds of others stand in front of the Fullerton Police Department protesting peacefully and demanding justice for Kelly. Last Saturday, I went to Fullerton for the first time in my life. I'm the father of a 4-year-old boy, Vincent, and as a father, I went to Fullerton to stand by another father, Kelly's father, Ron Thomas, and I went to add my voice to those asking for justice for Kelly and demanding that such a tragedy never be allowed to happen again. As one of the protesters' signs said, Kelly needed hugs, not thugs. While there was anger and frustration and determination in front of the Fullerton police station, there were also moments of understated sadness. I overheard a woman asking one of the protesters, "Did you know Kelly?" The protester answered that he hadn't known him. "You should have," said the woman. "He was a sweet kid, a good man." I went to Fullerton to stand by Ron Thomas, and tonight I publicly express my support for Ron Thomas, and I extend my condolences to him and to Kelly's mother, Kathy, for the loss of their boy. Ron is now Kelly's voice, and so must we all be the voices for Kelly and for those who can't or can no longer help themselves. Some might wonder why I'm discussing something that happened in a different city, a different county. Don't we have enough to worry about in our own city? Of course we do. And yes, we're dealing with our own issues, have been dealing with them for most of the afternoon, and we'll get to more of them tonight. But I wanted to take a moment to reflect upon Kelly Thomas because his death doesn't just concern Fullerton. This isn't just about Ron Thomas. Kelly Thomas could have been any one of our sons, yours or mine. This is about all of us. And while I know in my heart of hearts that Kelly Thomas's brutal death at the hands of those entrusted with protecting us and him could never, ever happen in Beverly Hills, while I know that our professional policemen and women, led by our wonderful chief, deal with the homeless in a compassionate and understanding fashion all the time, the point isn't that this couldn't happen in Beverly Hills. The point is that it shouldn't happen anywhere. I urge the Fullerton City Council and the Orange County's DA's office to do everything possible to regain the public's trust. And the only way to do this will be to hold those who caused his needless death fully accountable and to ensure that Kelly Thomas gets true justice. Those who are in public office do hold a public trust, and it's up to them to demand accountability and to show leadership. So I'd also like to thank and express my support for Fullerton Council members Whitaker and Quirk Silva for their efforts to demand transparency for the opaque and an explanation for that which simply cannot be explained. What happened to Kelly Thomas is simply not acceptable. I urge all of you, all of us, to do whatever we can to see to it that Kelly Thomas gets the justice he deserves and to make sure the most vulnerable among us get the protection they need. No father, no mother should ever have to live with the haunting cries of their children pleading for help their parents cannot give them. So for Kelly Thomas, please, let's all of us take a moment. Thank you.
Thank you very much.